It's Sunday, December the 15th, and this is Trillium Talk, a look inside the week that was in Ontario politics. I'm Scott Sexsmith, and back with us this week is reporter at the Trillium, Alan S. Hale. Great to have you back, Alan. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me again.
All right, let's fire things up here with things wrapping up just last week at Queen's Park for the holiday break. Premier Doug Ford spent a fair bit of his time leading up to that focused on international trade. What's he been up to, Alan?
Well, the whole government seems to be pulling out all the stops to try to convince the Americans not to slap a big tariff on absolutely everything that's being imported from Canada to the United States. We had Economic Development Minister Vic Fedeli going down to Washington, D.C. this week and meeting with a whole bunch of people, lawmakers, industry types, just about everybody down there. Just trying to really push that idea that it would be a bad idea to put tariffs on Canadian goods. And Doug Ford himself was doing the media circuit. He went on Fox News, which is, as I'm sure many people are aware, is a very influential conservative television news network that the president-elect Doug Ford is known to watch quite religiously. So he was on there, and he was also on CNBC on Wednesday night, where he was just really talking about how much Ontario loves America, and what good friends we are, and how much we want to sell them energy, and we want to sell them critical minerals, and what a bad idea it would be to end free trade against friends, and really this is all just Mexico's fault. And he was really pushing that, trying to convince people that they should change course.
All right, let's talk about that point for a sec in terms of the media tour. And the Premier has been heavily into the marketing and promotional game as well, making sure his message is getting out loud and clear, running a fair number of ads. What exactly is his message, Alan?
Well, it is they're spending quite a bit of money on running ads all over the place in airports and on like football games and stuff like that. And it really is the same thing he was repeating on Fox News and CNBC, is really that we are good friends and you should and good trading partners, and we can have this united front against the boogeymen, these like China and I guess Mexico, which is sort of under the accusation that they've been bringing in auto parts from China and labeling them as made in Mexico and sending them up to the North American Free Trade Zone.
Okay, of course, the fear that we're talking about is the 25% tariff that President-elect Donald Trump is threatening to put on goods coming from Canada. How concerned is Premier Ford over that threat?
Extremely. I think he's extremely concerned. And I think I don't think he's wrong to be concerned. Honestly, we are a very export-dependent province and an export-dependent country. We have an enormous automotive industry in like Windsor. I'm sure everybody has heard the saying that like an auto part goes between Windsor and Detroit like 2-3 times during the making of a car. It's how closely interlinked the car manufacturing system in the Detroit-Windsor area is. And as Doug Ford has pointed out, if you're slapping 25% tariff every time that goes back and forth across the American-U.S. border, that's an enormous amount of money to be adding to the cost of something. And it's not just the automotive industry that would be affected. It'd be just about anything that sells anything to the United States. It would be a disaster. And I don't think that's a lot of hyperbole. It would be a big deal.
No question. Okay, but last week Ford's tone seemed to change somewhat from what one might call a bit of a charm offensive to a bit feistier, saying we need to be ready to fight. This fight is coming when Trump takes office on January 20th. Does the Premier have a counterpunch planned?
Yes. So, like we were saying, he's definitely laying on the charm pretty thick for the Americans. But when he came out to talk to us at the legislature, the reporters at the legislature on Wednesday evening. It was a very different sort of tone. He did, like you quoted, he did say that there is going to be some sort of conflict when when Donald Trump takes office on January 20th. I think Doug Ford believes that I guess from what he's saying, I guess he's not confident that they'll be able to stop these tariffs from happening, and that we need to be prepared for that. And he's calling for retaliatory tariffs on American goods. And he has also floated this idea of cutting off energy exports from Ontario. We sell electricity to states like Michigan and Wisconsin and New York State. And his idea is to completely cut off that electricity going to those states. And we were asking Energy Minister Lecce about that today, and he also agrees and said that is a possibility.
All right, so he's obviously making it clear that two can play this game, and you brought it up, Alan. It's no secret that Ontario does a fair bit of trade with the U.S., and Premier Ford is actually the chair of the Council of the Federation, which represents all of the premiers and provinces, so clearly he's got a lot of skin in this game.
Oh, yes. He is. He's clearly flexing his international relations muscles, Doug Ford. And I think there has been some criticism from the opposition about that. There have been sometimes he's been accused of going rogue, or he's not playing, being a team player with the federal government, and the federal government should be leading this. But the premier obviously feels that he is well positioned to make this case to the Americans, and he seems to be throwing ideas out there, and he seems to be pushing this harder than even the federal government seems to be. And I guess we'll see if it ends up working. If maybe Doug Ford's leadership will make a difference, or if he is going to end up making things worse. I really don't know.
Well, as the premier has been quoted on more than one occasion, you don't want to upset the 800-pound gorilla.
Indeed.
For the most extensive coverage of Ontario politics anywhere, download and subscribe to Trillium Talk wherever you get your favorite podcast. And log on and become a Trillium Insider today at thetrillium.ca. Reporter at the Trillium, Alan S. Hale. Good as always to see you, Alan. Thanks for this.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy the holiday break.
All right. I'll see you later.